on in their first race this morning. The HQ Holdens racing here for the Perpetual Dale Yule Trophy, and what a magnificent trophy it is.
Green flag has been shown to the starters, so they'll be underway very shortly. But on pole position, we've got Brett Osborne alongside Andrew McGilton as they get underway. 50 HQs roaring towards turn one. The number 86 Osborne getting a fantastic jump. He'll lead the way going into turn one from McGilton. And we've got Joel Heinrich with the number one car following in third position as well. But look at this. It's a scene. It's a beautiful scene. 50 HQs going into turn one and up Mountain Straight for the first lap.
It makes Pitt Street look like a car park, doesn't it? With the amount of HQs making their way up Mountain Straight for the first time. And if any indication of what the earlier race was, it'll be between those front two in Brett Osborne and Andrew McGilton, Joel Heinrich in third spot, Brandon Madden in fourth, and they represent the four eastern states at this stage with New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland and South Australia.
53 cars making the pilgrimage to Bathurst for this event. It marks 50 years of HQ production in Australia, even if it is just 1 year late. But the organisers putting on this event for Bathurst. It's fantastic to see HQ racing live and in HD on the Stan Sport coming through, making their way through the Worth cutting. It looks nice and clean at the moment, and they're starting to settle into a groove. But this train of HQs coming over the top of the mountain looking absolutely resplendent in this beautiful weather. A sunny afternoon here at Mount Panorama. And as we said before, the car of Madden has steadily made his way through the field this weekend. He's supported by Pettis, or sporting Pettis suspension signage on the side of his car.
Oh, side by side. Not the place you want to do it, going over the grate, but they managed to pull it off. And as they head into McPhillamy Park, and two going through the dust and sand of the sand trap at McPhillamy. Hopefully they can get through and keep going. But Brett Osborne has a lead of 0.39 seconds, and that's the most he's been in front of Andrew McGilton since qualifying, really, where they were quite close. And they were actually, their qualifying laps just were exchanged throughout, and basically no difference. You've got a replay of this incident at...
I believe this might be Andrew McLeod, who's running wide on driver's right-hand side. Yeah, look, that's the car behind, and that's Ray Jardine up from Victoria as well, making the trip off as they come into Skyline. And then we've got a change for the lead as well, coming into the Ford Ranger elbow.
Oh, it's Brett Osborne.
Osborne into the Ford Ranger signage there, so he runs wide. That's heartbreaking stuff for the number 86 Osborne's Transport HQ. You never want to make a mistake when you're out on your own at the front, but that elevates Andrew McGilton into the lead.
It sort of replicates an incident he happened at Winton in the Ken Lee 4-hour a couple of years ago, where they looked like they were going to win it and just went off into the wall. So, yeah, cold tyres, first lap. These things happen. It puts Andrew McGilton in front from Heinrich, with Phil Ashland for Tasmania up the first spot, Brandon Madden in fourth, Ben Simpson from Queensland, and then Darryl Crouch, Andrew Toth in the next one, and then of course Osborne has recovered for 8th position. He's got his work cut out of him to get there from there.
I saw before Chris Mole in the Command Digital Signage HQ. He had a great move up the inside, coming through Murray Corner and through Hell Corner as well. He's up on the inside. With these HQs, they weigh anywhere between 1,300 to 1,400 kilograms, and they really do lumber around the circuit. And the Kenda tyre, it's a road radial. You really need to maximise the mid-corner speed with these cars, because they don't have a huge amount of power. You could bank on somewhere in the vicinity of more than 100 kilowatts, and they're fairly close to production trim, but it's more than enough power to power them around the Mount Panorama circuit. But it really is up to the driver to maximise the mid-corner speed. So we've got the number 7 car pulling into pit lane as well. That's Andrew Lorgelli down in position 51 overall. So that's a bit of a disappointing end for him. But what we are seeing right now is Andrew McGilton coming under fire from Joel Heinrich. So that's the number 1 car, the black and orange car, looking fantastic, always beautifully turned out. He's actually teammate to Osborne as well, who we saw spear off at the Ford Ranger elbow earlier in this race. Just 0.2 of a second splitting those two in this race.
Yeah, just about a second ahead of Ashland at this stage. We'll go back to Chris Mulwood, which spoke about just a moment or two ago. Started off the rear of the grid, had an incident in the earlier race where he went off and damaged the car down here at Murray's Corner, but they've managed to pull the fenders off the tyres, and at least it had a straight wheel line and they could get back out there. So this awesome shot from above in the drone coming down through the S's and into the dipper there is just spectacular. And it's now a race into McGilton ahead of Heinrich with that gap back to Ashland, who's under pressure from Madden in the 4th spot. Simpson next, and you can hear the tyres, Kendra's tyres squealing as they go down through Forest Elbow.
David Amor, normally the voice of the Holden HQs. He's down in the paddock selling Kenda tyres to most of the field this weekend. It's great to have him along at Mount Panorama, always doing a great job supporting this field, but there really is a community vibe amongst competitors. They really do help each other off the track and race just as hard on the track. This is probably the highest or the fastest Holden HQs anywhere in the world right now, coming into the DB8 chase. In the slipstream is Heinrich, but he can't quite range in at the moment, but that might not necessarily be the place where he wants to be when they come into the chase for the final lap. This is a 5-lap sprint for the feature race for the Holden HQs this weekend in Mount Panorama.
Yeah, we've lost timing at the moment, so they're still showing us 1 lap completed. So, but we can tell you in the meantime, Andrew McGilton leads from Joel Heinrich from South Australia, and Heinrich is a former Nationals winner amongst this field, whereas McGilton, I think, was 2nd in the state championship in the most recent series that they run, given that we had COVID. Just a quick shout out to we're doing this for the Dale Ute Memorial Trophy. But his car is actually running in this race. It's car number 25 has been driven by Kyle Lovering, and it's sponsored by Surface Renter Cars, which is a Ute family business. So it's nice that they've come along and still want to be involved in the HQ fraternity. Unfortunately, Dale passed away on Boxing Day of last year quite suddenly. Replay coming up for you of an incident down at, wasn't so much an incident, it was a good passing move made through there.
That's Sidoni up the inside of Jenkins, and then you've got Chris Moll capitalising on that battle between those two, and then exiting or coming through Hell Corner. We've got someone running wide there as well, so that was bringing up a little bit of dust. That's the number 81 car, I believe, running just slightly wide. So coming through the Worth cutting is that Joel Heinrich making his way into the lead. So he's jumped ahead of the Middies Electrical HQ of Joel Heinrich as they come through Reed Park for the 3rd time. So number 1 on the door, Osborne's Transport, Joel Heinrich.
That was from winning the Nationals last year at the Bend. And Joel said originally he didn't think he had the right car here for this meeting. It wasn't fast enough, but they've obviously trimmed it up and made it nicer, and he's out in front. Also must give a shout out to a long-time HQ supporter, competitor and commentator Bobby McGee, who's had a couple of open heart surgery operations and battling a cancer or 2 as well. So hopefully he's watching this on Stan Sport, and nice to know that the HQ fraternity is thinking of him.
Never have Holden HQs looked or sounded so good on the Stan Sport coverage. If you haven't encouraged your friends already, tell them to head over to Stan Sport and sign up for their 7-day trial. This is round 3 of the Speed Series as part of an ever-growing catalogue of motorsports events or categories on the Stan Sport platform. So fantastic to have them. Big fans of motorsport supporting what we all love.
Sport, and not only motorsport, but rugby, boxing, all sorts of different things. Anyway, Heinrich's obviously trimmed his car up nicely. He's out in front and he's almost a 2nd ahead. And a drama here for another one. Locking up brakes down at Forest Elbow.
It was one of the Command Digital signage cars. It was one of the Mole brothers. Had it completely locked up into the Ford Ranger elbow.
That looked like Chris Mole actually in the number 23.
And it's been an eventful race so far. Coming down Conrod Straight. Look at the slipstream. That is a fantastic example of how valuable the slipstream, the draft, is in HQ racing. Rubbing certainly is racing between the heavy cars, and they all run steel bumpers. They are used to copping and battering in all circuits around Australia. Just keeping an eye on Brett Osborne after his mistake earlier in the race. He's recovered to P4 at the moment. He's about 6 seconds off the lead, so I dare say he's lost touch at this stage. And I'm very impressed by Ashland as well. He's steadily made his way through the field. so far this weekend, and to currently be on the podium position in the feature race. He'll be absolutely wrapped with that result. Here is a replay of the double front lockup. Oh, boy, very lucky to get that one wrapped up. Great car control, and he'll press on undeterred.
Probably won't be using those Kendras for anything else after this race. We've got one off at the chase by the look of it.
And that's Madden, that's the number 72 car. And we've got a replay of that. He's had a look up the inside there, but he didn't really have a move at that point, and he's made contact as well. Sean Madden in the Mad Trim Earth Moving HQ.
Further back, not Brandon Madden, who's running up the front. And he's gone right in. He's probably tried to drive out by getting over onto the grass and found out that that tyre barrier is just a bit too close to the car. Hopefully he can now move it and we can keep this race going.
So McGilton's mounting a challenge on the back of Heinrich. He was the fastest man to Sector 1 on this lap until he's been pipped by Osborne, who's the quickest man on circuit at the moment. So McGilton, you can see there is just a HQ's length between him and Heinrich as they come in to the Super Cheap Auto Depot. We should say a big shout out to our friend Darren Smith, who's normally up here calling all the action for the Easter long weekend as part of the High Tech Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. He's sorely missed here this weekend. I hope he's tuning in on the Stan Sport coverage and enjoying it. And we've got McGilton sticking to the racing line, squares up the corner beautifully. He'll set off after McGilton for the next 2 kilometres down the Conrod Straight.
Joel Heinrich, who leads the way, of course, as we said, he is a Nationals title holder, but a son of Bruce Heinrich, who's been a champion in this category as well as in saloon cars. So a good pedigree to come into racing, and Joel's been racing dirt karts, and then he's moved into Aussie racing cars, Super 2 and Super 3, done all sorts of different racing, but always seems to come back to what is a great one-make series that's been around so long.
Yeah, that's Ashland coming under fire from Osborne. So I was just going to allude to again, Osborne's still the fastest man on the circuit, and that in that number 86, Osborne's Transport HQ. He's all over the back of Ashland. He'll have a look around the outside. We've got local yellows down at the chase as well. And they're side by side under brakes. Barely a width between those two. Heinrich also coming under fire as they come onto the main straight.
Yeah, he had to pull out of that one, didn't he? So they head off on the last lap, and he tries to go down the inside of him along pit straight, and I think he might just manage it going into turn 1, and he will push the Tasmanian down one place as they head up the mountain the last time. Behind them, of course, it's Crouch, Simpson, Toff, Chris Mole up into position 8. Jason Mole is further back. I think he was actually making good progress, but has dropped right down.
Side by side coming up to turn 2. McGilton on the inside, Joel Heinrich on the outside. It looks like they might have brushed mirrors at some point, which is not surprising in Holland HQ racing.
But Joel's got to try and hang on going around the outside, but he can't do it. And that gives McGilton the lead back, although now in the run to the cutting, he's wide there. Can Heinrich get him back? No, he's stuck in behind him as they go there. We've got one parked on pit straight as well by the look of it.
Once again, that's Madden. I think that's the number 45 car. He's dropping down the timing screens at the moment, but luckily that probably won't need a safety car given that this is the last lap of the race, and I can see the checkered flag is getting ready for the drivers once they come around Murray's corner for the last time. But who will it be? Will it be McGilton or will it be Joel Heinrich?
This should be awesome
battle
down the straight on the last occasion, because the slipstreams come right into it, and with these cars you could probably slipstream past and then get repassed before you get to the Murray's corner.
He's all over him like a cheap suit. Look at that, bringing up some dust as well on the far side. The HQ is exploring all sorts of track limits this weekend using parts of the Mount Panorama circuit I didn't know existed before. Completely under control as they come into the Super Cheap Auto Dipper for the last time. McGilton's still hanging on. He's driving a defensive race of his life, but he might come under fire from Heinrich as they're coming down Conrod Straight. Osborne recovering to 3rd position. Great recovery for him.
Yeah, he's about 5.7 seconds in arrears of these two, but this is where the race is on for these two to take the win here this afternoon. And can Heinrich get into that toe? Can he push it to the point where he can make a move down at the chase on the final occasion? Got a right-hander, a left-hander, and then the hard charge down to Murray's corner for the last time.
485,650 HQs produced between 1971 and 1974, but it comes down to just 2 coming into the DBA chase for the last time. McGilton defending well, holding his line. He parks it on the apex, nails the exit, squares it off. And the Middy's electrical car is looking pretty good as they come to Murray's Corner. Yellow flags still showing down there at the chase.
Yeah, we can't see what. No, that's down to Murray's Corner. But Andrew McGilton, the Victorian, who hasn't claimed a title of any sort, gets through to take the win ahead of Joel Heinrich. Brett Osborne will be in 3rd position, ruining the fact that he had that little bit of a misdemeanour at Forest Elbow early in the race. Phil Aston in 4th, Darryl Crouch in 5th position as they start streaming across the line.